So here we are once again, same place, same topic, different game. After the successful release of Stride on Quest and the devs promising to release a campaign for a better part of 2 years, we finally got it, Stride Fates. A game like Fates, in my opinion, regardless of whether they spent more time making the game or delaying it, it would have been the same game. It is another JoyWay problem. Not like it's the first time, second time, third time, or fourth time, or fifth time. It's the damn sixth time. It's disappointingly bad as a game in itself and somehow worse than the original game, Stride. I'm really tired of having to constantly trash on the dev JoyWay because time and time again, they have great premises for games, and you will hear this from anyone. But halfway through the process, like every other game, and this game included, it feels half-assed. I applaud the devs for trying to make and continue making games for VR, but to me it's evident that in the VR space, people are desperate for content as they are ready to praise the game instantly and consistently, time and time again, and you'll see this in this game's reviews. And there's nothing bad about just enjoying games to pass your free time. Not every game has to be Game of the Year caliber, just decent enough to play through without thinking to yourself, why did I spend $30 on a below mediocre game? A game like this, in my opinion, is the reason what is wrong not only with modern gaming, but with releasing half-baked games and fixing them later, but also the reason why people think standalone VR sucks. So let's talk about the mechanics. Somehow the mechanics are worse in Stride Fates than Stride. In a game that is entirely parkour, the game feels less immersive as character models and guns have less weight. In the original Stride, it feels more beefy. Pause. Whether grabbing on ledges, shooting your gun, it feels way more arcadey than the original. Stride is based on gameplay entirely on parkour and gunplay. With gunplay, the weapons themselves don't have any weight, and this is why weight is good in a game. Take for instance Bone Lab or Blade and Sorcery. Physics and weapons having weight is crucial, and it adds immersion to make it feel as like you're actually are holding them in VR. In Stride, it feels arcadey with the fact that you cannot two-hand weapons for some reason at all, and also you teleport inside objects or go through them entirely, and it doesn't feel as refined, and it doesn't make it immersive. And when in the first game you really never encountered this problem at all. With gunplay, the enemy AI is some of the worst I have ever seen. You either get the dumbest AI in the world or you get Deadshot from DC. Stealth in the game at the difficulty I played is, which is the highest other than the default one, it feels like the AI is an afterthought. I walk in a room and the enemy AI will beam me or act like stormtroopers. A good point to understand is that the AI in the original Stride and Fates has never gotten better, just nerfed or improved accuracy. They've never been smart enough to detect. The AI is similar to writing your first Python script. All they do is follow the player and shoot at them. They don't duck, they don't cover at all. Almost no difference from an on-rails type of shooter. All right, graphics. Graphically, it's improved, but not as good as the trailers make it look.
Sir,
with the game taking place in a city with a dystopian setting, it does a great job
this is an
in map
implant
design
avatar.
of putting walls
It usually
to run
assists
and
the
climb on.
operator
It's one
during
of the
missions.
factors where
The
it's
operator will
obviously
shortly
better than
contact you.
Stride. I really like
Good
where they
luck.
went design-wise. It's obvious
sir.
the devs spent a lot of time building
Nicholas?
and envisioning player
I'm
movement,
Elizabeth.
but it does feel
I will be
improved but
assisting
not
you on
drastic
missions.
graphically as
Let's check
something
your stats.
with Red Matter 2
Take a few
or
steps.
Into the Radius. And the game
I
also
can't
runs
move.
at 72 hertz
Oh,
on all platforms.
sorry.
And in-game,
The
the view
neuropilot is
distance
off.
is good enough to make it seem like you're in a city. Whether you're in the city or the slums, they do a great job
Great.
creating the environment,
run a
making
bit.
it feel
Turn around
somewhat
now.
lived in, as well as they put cars on the streets just driving. And at
Working
first
for
it's
Sky
impressive,
Chase
but then it
isn't
gets
just about
old
flying
the
across
more you
rooftops
get to
and
know the game.
eliminating
But
criminals.
artistically and
It will
design-wise,
be
great
up to
improvement.
you to
I
find
wish we
ways
got
to
this in
get
the
into
original
hard-to-reach
Stride and had to
places.
buy another
can't go
game,
any
but it's
further.
fine. I
The
really
building is
like
being
it
renovated.
design-wise. And
Use the
resolution with this
crowbar to
game
clear
is
the
way
way.
better. It's at scale, unlike where on Stride it's lowered both on Quest 2 and 3,
Jump
where it
over the
makes the
obstacle.
game look blurry. And whether you have the Quest 3 with the pancake lenses, it still looks the same on whether you play it on
weapon
Quest 2 or
upgrade
3.
module.
And I really
Great.
like the resolution
going.
bump you get with Fates. It's at native, but
Please,
there
sir.
isn't any reason
tell me about
why
that
they
piece of
couldn't
steel
at
in
least
my
fix
head?
that in the original game.
The
Now
neural
let's talk
implant
about the
was developed by
campaign story.
Biotech
This is
Corporation.
by far where
Base of
if you like
facilities
Stride,
changed.
getting
Climb up
Stride
the ledges
Fates
to get
was a
further.
must. I at least have been waiting since COVID because it would be Mirror's Edge in VR.
I'm
The
so glad
campaign
you're
is the
joining us.
worst I have
Sky
ever
Chase
played
is
on the
short
Quest
on
Store,
people.
exaggerated by the voice actor.
Do you know how do you look when you're in cyberspace?
Judging by your tone, it must be amusing.
Standing frozen with your phone at the cyberlock, like a robot, eyes glowing.
I hope there won't be anyone eager to take a selfie with me.
Pass through the blocker to unlock the lock.
There's that. I don't know. They're either AI or they just pulled out from the street entirely. Playing the game on mute makes it for an entirely better experience. Look, my voice isn't any better, but geez, I was like, surely it's just tutorial voice lines, but it keeps going. Dialogue between the person in your head acting as your assistant and your own voice, I mean, it's horrible. Every JoyWay VR game has had horrible voice acting since the dawn of time. Lamar Jackson on NFL Pro Era shows more personality in his dialogue. I played Dead Hook for a little bit, and as soon as I booted the game, I was like, oh, it's basically Stride, but with Doom. But then as soon as the voice acting comes on, I was like, bro, not again. Like, it's so mediocre. And we see smaller titles, smaller devs being able to achieve good enough. But I mean, in this game, it's hilariously bad. And the thing is, an update can't fix that unless JoyWay wants to package that in Stride Fates Part 2. And I think it's evident in their voice acting. It's half-baked. They come up with the dialogue, as I think some of the dialogue seems AI written. AI is supposed to accompany on what you're working on, not make it entirely. And I think it's another instance of JoyWay giving us another half-baked product. And with Stride Fates releasing, I saw the reviews, people praising the game, best game ever, don't listen to the haters. And I'm like, wow, they might have finally turned it around. And I was so happy because I'm like, oh, I could have been wrong. Maybe JoyWay turned it around with getting all the money that they got on the original Stride with releasing on Quest. But there's a difference between glazing, hate, and criticism. And when you look at the reviews rave about a beautiful female character as his reasoning as why it's the best VR game of 2023. I mean, you can't make this up. I mean, like, just go to the hub, bro. And this has been one of my biggest disappointment games, not only on VR, but on Pancake as well. Because with Stride, the mechanics are there. They're built, but developing a decent story with somewhat resemblance of what is a voice actor seems to be their weakest suit. Now, I was naive to think JoyWay could deliver a solid game in a span of 5 years. Initially, when the announcement came out about a campaign coming to the original game for free, I was psyched, which to me was good news, but then they pulled the rug under us and said it's an entirely different game. And I was like, okay, we're getting more additional content, a fully fledged game, instead of an arcadey type of game that is Stride. But having played Stride Fates, I think it wouldn't be too much if I could get my $30 back. And this is in VR, we haven't gotten full pricing yet. Asgard's Wrath 2 will set that the $60 or the $70 price tag, and it's just $30 and I want my money back. It's hard to believe after all these years this is how we get. I'm going to close it off there, and I don't think JoyWay as a dev has matured at all. Patterns become habits. What are your thoughts? Do you disagree or agree with me about the constant below average games we keep getting on the Quest Store as of late? Do you, like me and so many others, agree that the premise is great, it's dope, but for some reason they cannot finish or at least give a decent enough product for release? And with this constant state of modern gaming that is releasing a game and then fixing it later, just gets tiring after some time. But yeah, leave a like, dislike, hit that sub button, and until the next video, bye.